Let's learn about the blood vessels of the brain.
Today, we're going to be looking at the arteries in the circle of Willis in the brain. So the most superior artery we have here is the posterior cerebral artery. And then moving inferiorly, you have your basilar artery here. And your basilar artery bifurcates into your vertebral artery. And then your vertebral artery inferior to that is your anterior spinal artery. Now moving within the cerebrum, we have here is your internal carotid artery. And then your internal carotid branches into your middle cerebral artery here. And here you have your anterior cerebral artery. And then you can't really visualize it on this model. So moving over to this model, you have your anterior communicating artery. And now you can't really visualize this one on either model, but you have your posterior communicating artery somewhere around here. That sort of connects into the posterior cerebral artery.
The end. Thanks for watching.
In this video, we're going to look at the blood vessels that supply the head and the neck. Starting off with the head, we have the superficial temporal artery, the maxillary artery, the facial artery, and the external carotid artery. There is also the internal carotid artery and the right and left vertebral veins that are not shown on the model. Moving downward, we have the right common carotid artery and the left common carotid artery. We also have the right subclavian artery, the left subclavian artery, and the brachiocephalic trunk, which branches off from the aorta. Alongside the common carotid arteries, we have the right and left internal and external jugular veins, the right brachiocephalic vein, and the left brachiocephalic vein, as well as the superior vena cava and the inferior vena cava that bring deoxygenated blood into the heart.
Okay, right here we have the three main branches of the abdominal aorta. First we have the cephalic trunk right here, then we have the superior mesenteric artery, and then we have the inferior mesenteric artery. So here we have the left renal artery and the right side renal artery, and right here, up here, we have the suprarenal artery.
In between your ribs and your intercostal region, you have your intercostal arteries, which lies in the neurovascular bundle, which is on the inferior portion of the superior rib. And we also have the phrenic artery, which branches off the aorta, which you can't really see here. It branches off the aorta to supply the diaphragm with its blood.
Here we have the gastric artery, the splenic artery, and the lymphatic artery.
Alright, today we are going to go over the arteries of the pelvis and lower limb. So starting off, we're going to come down the common iliac artery, and that branches into the internal iliac artery. Off here we have our external iliac artery, and then if we follow this down, we'll move to our next model. Over we have our femoral artery coming down the front. Now we're moving to the back of the leg. So right behind the kneecap, we have our popliteal artery, which branches off into our anterior tibial artery. And then we go down to our posterior tibial artery.